Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Christian Party Girl. We're your hosts. I'm Julia.
And I'm Jess.
And we are so excited to finally start launching this. This is something that Jess and I have been praying about for just a really long time. But before we really get into it, we think we should definitely introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Just so you can learn a little bit more about us. So I'm Julia. I just turned 25, got that quarter life crisis going strong. In the corporate sales, love my job, love getting to do what I do. Also, I am engaged, so getting married in September. But I just think that's very important to say, just because that is a big part of my life right now. We are in like wedding planning, bachelorette planning mode. Just it's been a big part of my journey this year. I love reading, piano, writing, doing the creative outlets is something that's super important. I also go outside a little bit, not as much as this one, but love getting to explore and things like that. I like to make jokes that I kind of live in sweatpants, Converse, and Birkenstock. So if you guys don't love gearing up, dressing up every day, that's okay. You can wear your sweatpants. It is okay, Jess. We can go out in sweatpants.
What are sweatpants? I'm just kidding. I love sweatpants.
And then just really importantly, I am an Enneagram 3. For those of you who really do like to learn about all that personality stuff, I am a 3, really value that achievement, goal-driven lifestyle. And I mean, I'm sure Jess can maybe relate to that, right?
Yes. I'm Jess. I am also an Enneagram 3. So why do you think we're doing this? No, but seriously, I'm Jess. I'm 24, about to be 25. So kind of also going through that quarter life crisis. What is God calling me to do with my life? I work in HR, so I am definitely a little bit more fine-tuned that way. If you have an HR friend, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't like your friendly HR people, we're not villains. So please be nice to us. We are also human. Like Julia said, I love adventure. I love going outside. I love hiking. I'm an adrenaline junkie. Like anybody wants to go skydiving, I'm down. Love to shop, a little bit of a shoeaholic. But outside of that, I am single, chronically single to some degree, but it's okay to be 24 and single. And I think it's really an important time in life just to figure out who I am and what God wants me to do. So, what is our mission about all of this? So, our mission is to inspire people to want to get to know Jesus first and foremost, and how awesome God is, that he took both of our lives that were very broken, lost, lonely, and redeemed us.
Yeah.
And showing us that love and grace that we just want to showcase through this podcast and showcase to other people that it's okay to not be perfect like society tells you to be.
Yes. I think that's a big pressure that a lot of girls and guys our age are always facing, like right out of college and learning to be adults and whatnot. But no, I mean, Jess is absolutely right. We are redeemed, and you guys also can be, and God's grace is so good. So the question so many people have been asking us about is where this concept came from. And what was really cool is Jess and I met just about a year ago. So it's not like we've been these lifelong friends who grew up together and went to high school together and like history has kept us together. It's more of our passion for God to change lives, to help other people see that they are loved and they are accepted. And so we really just had this desire in our hearts that even though we really crave that achieving corporate,
climb the ladder,
climb that corporate ladder lifestyle, believe me, both of us have really been obsessed with that coming out of college. We knew there was more. We knew there was so much more than just clocking in at 9 and getting off at 5, or for some of us, maybe
a little bit earlier, but we digress.
We just knew there was more to life, and we both met and had this passion to share our stories, and also this weird coincidence where in our lives we just are always sharing very detailed and probably intrusive thoughts of our lives.
Maybe oversharing a bit, but that's okay.
We are oversharers, as you can tell. But we really just wanted to do something more with it than just a side conversation with someone on MARTA or on a trip or in the corporate office. We wanted to create something where anyone can really hear our stories and relate in so many ways. And even with the term Christian party girl, it's really funny because for years I had just been sketching like Christian, but I love God, but I love to go to the bars. So where does this leave me? And it's just conflicting, kind of like that lukewarm Christianity that so many people talk about. Like having the desire to love God, but also like wanting to go to the bars throughout college because that's what there is to do at a lot of colleges. And so me and Jess were brainstorming at Starbucks, and we were like talking about different names, and I thought of one that was vetoed. But we were
okay. The vetoed one was called Sunflowers and Daffodils, and I said we're not gardening. So, yeah, Julia tossed out Christian party girl. I was like, nah, because I guess I didn't understand it. I didn't know. And then the more we talked about it, I was like, this is it. Like, this is our lives. This is us describing and kind of encompassing having one foot in the Christian world and one foot in the world that we live in. And like you just said, being that lukewarm Christian and having a foot in both worlds, but you can't have a foot in both worlds.
Right, especially with a lot of Christians who grew up in church. You know, maybe you were forced to go to church growing up, or your parents made you be in the choir, but then you get to college and there's just not direction. Like, there's really not. If
they say, have fun.
They're like, you live alone now. Your parents are hundreds of miles away. Here's, a freedom to do whatever you want. And no one's really taught, especially if you were very sheltered. You don't have that control. You don't really know where you should go. And Jess and I kind of just went on a path that obviously wasn't very pleasing to God.
Yeah.
But we're back. We're back now. We came full circle. But really we were both really passionate about this. We grew up hundreds of miles away. Literally separate lives completely until a year ago in January. And so that's kind of bringing me into our how we met story, our little meet cute.
Golly. Julia was born and raised in Georgia. We're based out of Atlanta. I was born and raised in Indiana, so 550 miles away to be quite exact from where we live. So like she said, we grew up hundreds of miles away, but I moved to Georgia for a job right during the middle of COVID. And I worked nights, and then I worked this crazy shift of like 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., which was still brutal to my mental health and just how exhausted I was every day. But I eventually, it was last January of 2022, and I go, I need to make friends outside of like the 2 friends I have in Atlanta. Although they're wonderful, but I needed to have more of a community than just solely having 2 people in my life and that I love and adore. But I was like, I need more Christian friends. I need a community of people. So we both joined small group. This was Julia's 3rd small group. So again, if you don't like your small group, it's okay. You can try a different one. It's the first try isn't always the best try. But whatever your reason for being in that small group is probably for a reason, a season, or maybe you'll meet your lifelong friends, kind of like what we did. But we met, and then it was one particular small group. It was probably like the 3rd time we had like all met each other. We got really deep.
Tissues, crying.
The girl next to me was like sharing her deep, dark secrets, bawling. We're all start crying. And then I share deep, intimate parts of my life that I will share here eventually one day. And then Julia shared her deep, dark secrets. We're all just crying. And then we leave.
That's really how it went. No one even acknowledged it. We weren't like hugging in the hallway or anything.
No, we all just kind of left.
Darted to our cars.
It was like, 9:00. Guess we gotta go. And I'm like, I just like shared this part of my life. What are we doing? So I remember I grabbed Julia and I stopped her. I was like, I'm not going to his house tonight.
You like tugged me. Like you
Okay, potato. Yeah, I kind of like yanked her. I was like, come here.
Was pulling on me.
I was pulling on you. Because I don't know what drew me to you, but I think it was something just in that moment of sharing in that room. It was one person opened up, which opened to another person opening up, which led to Julia opening up and another girl opening up, and just kept getting deeper and deeper. So I knew that we were kind of the oversharers of the group. So I was like, I can tell this girl like my troubles. So we ended up walking out to each other. Our cars happened to be parked right next to each other. at 10 p.m. in the parking lot, and we sat out there for about 2.5 hours and just spilled our guts.
It was a long day at work the next day, I'll mind you.
But it was rough. But it was something we both needed, and then our friendship took off from there. So that was a little bit about us and how we met.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Julia, so kind of how we met, it sort of led to why we feel called to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like Jess mentioned, our friendship was literally made by God. Like, the way we both got into the small group, me not giving up on the third try, Jess just being brave and doing it on her own, just the willingness to be vulnerable and transparent and honest.
Yeah.
Like I always joke, I don't like small talk, neither do you. we like meeting those that are really struggling because we can relate and talk to them way better than I can be a greeter. And so we just had this passion, and we wanted to help people, and we wanted not only for like us to be able to use gifts that God gave us, but for us to really just let people know that they are loved and they are accepted, and just so importantly, they are forgiven. I think for so long our guilt like swallows us and makes us feel like we can never go back to God. And even when we were at the end of our party stage and there was just like this magnetic pull, like, you are the party girl, you're not leaving that, you're not this Christian woman, but like we had to trust in God, we had to push through. There was like physical pain, like
a lot of crying.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't like, all right, the party's done, now I'm gonna start the Bible study and I'm gonna go volunteer at the church. Like, there was conviction and there was doubt and insecurity and
a lot of shame too.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the best way to phrase this is the reason I personally feel so called to do this is because I was the girl that left church early to get drunk that night, like sprinting out. Like the last worship song.
You're like, I gotta go.
The last worship. Thirsty Thursdays that's another term we coined. But if someone who was getting drunk an hour after the last worship song was going, can be redeemed and come back to God and be like, use so much of my life to help Him and glorify His name, there's no one that's too far gone.
No, and I mean, I was going to the bars my senior year of college. I mean, every single day, Sunday through Saturday. Like, we did not have a day off. I knew every bartender, all the specials. I still, unfortunately, know the specials because it was so ingrained as my personality. Was, I know I'll see Jess there. I know I'll have a good time if Jess is there. So nobody is too far gone. And we just want to make sure that everyone knows that God loves you and we love you. And we're here to share our stories and just let everyone know that you're not alone. Even if you're 24, 25, going through a quarter life crisis.
Married, engaged, single, chronically single.
We're here for you.
Yeah, we're all in this crazy thing called life, and we all just want to glorify God and do what we can to be a good person and love others. So come back and join us for the next episode
of Christian Party Girl. Bye.